Hi everybody, welcome back to Mossongland Farm. Today I want to talk about fall arrangements and what I like to do to put together a really awesome arrangement using some materials you might already have, keeping it cheap, and making it really strong design. If you haven't yet, please subscribe to our channel. We're just getting started. We're so passionate about our place, our land, the things we're doing around here. It brings us so much joy, and we can only grow that channel and spread that joy even more with your help. So please subscribe. So this is the arrangement that I came up with this year, and I'm going to show you how to build this and pull this together. I'll also show you just how I did some other arrangements to accent throughout the property and make it easy and fun, and just a really great way to have a creative outlet but also decorate your home. So here you can see I've got this really great mezzos vine that has grown awesome this summer. It's huge, it's long, there's even more over here on this other side. I've decided I'm going to keep those. Here you can see we had these awesome zinnias that went real tall. They're crispy now because I have stopped watering them. And I'm pulling them out because I've decided I'm really not too keen on using them for fall arrangements. I'm not digging the form. I think I'd rather do mums and things like that. So I'm starting to rip them out. As I'm doing that, I can see the root base is really, really tight. These root fibers are super thick and dense, and it's really hard to pull them out of the pot. Like when I went to go pull them by hand, I'm putting a lot of force. You can see the soil's coming up, and I'm not able to get them out by hand. So I'm actually using my shovel to dig them up and then yank them out. And I'm shaking out at the root base to get as much of that soil off, because I want this soil to stay in the pot so I can use it for arrangements. That's the main matter that I'm using as I transition to fall, and also holiday arrangements here coming up in November. The soil is just got some real good root mass in it. It did really well this year with those plants, and now I'm just kind of rustling that up, loosening it, giving it some nice space. But I'm being careful to preserve these as they are. They're getting kind of stressed out. They do need to be watered. And once I get the mums in and the other plants I want to have in here, then I'll go ahead and water the whole thing. But I like it to be dry while I'm working with it here. So these are the materials that I'm planning to put into this container. This mum, and then this big mum. And then I wanted something for height in the middle, so I am wanting to use these branches, which are actually vines. It's really, really cool. It's really sweet. So these are old vine pieces from this arbor here. And they wound and grew over the years right up and down the middle where that circle is. And it's just really special because as we cleaned up the vine and kind of pared it back so it was more not as overgrown, we had this really cool pieces that were just super thick from years and years of growth that now look like this. And I thought, boy, they'd be cool to put in an arrangement, and kind of a special way to keep part of the garden history of the property being memorialized in these containers. So we're going to give this a shot. So again, due to the really crazy root mass that's developed over the summer, I couldn't just stick this end in there. I had to dig out with my shovel all the way down until I'm touching the bottom of this metal, steel basin. I'm hoping that I can then stick them in and then compact the dirt back up around the stick so that it will stay standing straight. Wish me luck. All right, not too shabby. Look at that. So I grouped these three. I put all three sticks in, and I really like how it looks. It's a really pretty form. And so you got this really cool one with the height, and then I've got the other ones in there. And you can see that braid of the vine, which is really neat. So they're in there. I think once I get the other two plants on either side, so here and here, It's going to help hold it in together, and then once I water it, I think that'll further help. So now I've dug holes for each of the mums to go in. So real deep, piled up the dirt on either side so that I can start to shimmy those in there. And from a design perspective, usually a good rule of thumb in most cases is to do odd numbers. So we have 1, 2 different vines here. So you can see that you've got the mesos and the mesos, that's 2. And they're, a lot of times you want to do mirroring or equal balance. So you have one thing of one kind on one side and then one on the other in most arrangements, even when they're asymmetrical and not symmetrical. This one will be a little bit more symmetrical in nature. And then you want to have a, more of a thriller, as they call it. If you've ever heard of a thriller, a spiller, and a filler. So these 2 mums are going to be the fillers. And if you count it all, we've got 1, 2, 3 in the center. And then I'll have 4 and 5. And so that is our odd number. And if you notice, this mum is a lot smaller than that mum. That's also deliberate because I want to give it some height in the back, because this is the front where we'll be viewing it from. We'll be looking out from the sunroom into the yard. We want to view this in the front and then that more in the back. All right, I've got this out of the pot. A great rule of thumb whenever you are transplanting a flower from a container into another one or any garden, you always want to break this up. So I'm going to take my trowel and I'm going to hammer at this, and then I'm going to try to cut the bottom off a little bit, just slice it right down here so that you're really working up the root mass so that it will really take to the place that it's getting planted in, and just move around the soil so that there's nice movement for the root to grow. There's Allie Doodle. Hi, Allie. Helping mommy plant. You can see I've got it all rustled up now. So I've hacked off a bunch of the soil. I've gone all the way around and just hammered at it so it's nice and loose and ready to be planted. Okay, that went in really well. I went ahead and put that in the one side, and I made sure that I looked at the shape of the mum, and I took the side that is widest and most full and kind of spilling out over the edge, and I put that on the outside so that that really nicely fills in. All right, well, that went in pretty well. Really happy with how this all turned out. Now I just got to clean it up. Allie is always game. Look at that tail wag. Always game to help with the hose. She just loves drinking from the hose, loves playing in the hose, anything to do with the water. Okay, let's let the plants have a drink. So I've been watering this just to set it. And of course, it cleans off the leaves, cleans off the petals, makes it nice and tidy, and then literally just squirting around the planter too, so it's nice and tidy. And then of course this little flower. Isn't that right, Allie Doodle? I was like, it looks okay, but I was still craving something. I also didn't like the gap that was here by the meso vine. So I had gotten a few more mums, smaller ones, and I really love this for scale. So you've got like a medium, you've got a large, and this one is a smaller size. It adds a really nice depth to the overall arrangement, and I still have the odds going on. But I also wove in some very airy, light feeling branches from our lilac tree because I really like the form. I like how interesting these are. They kind of branch out differently. They're not real straight. They have some really cool texture here with the old dried up buds on them. And I really love how it turned out. It just adds a little bit more full dimension. Now you might be wondering, well, why didn't I do like millet or corn stalks or the tall prairie grasses and kale and collis and things you normally typically see in a lot of fall arrangements? Frankly, I just wasn't feeling it. I feel like it's very expected. It's very common. Also, it's expensive if you aren't growing those materials on your own. It can really add up fast. And frankly, You know, every fall I think about it. Like, I love switching out the containers because it keeps them fresh and it's interesting and it's something new, and you don't have plants that are tired out from the whole season. But the truth is, you've got materials that are going to die. They're going to get frostbitten. You know, you maybe have a 1 month to 2 month max run of having them before they really get frostbitten and totally die and stall out on you. I didn't spend a lot. You know, I pulled these branches from our property, which is one thing I love about living on land and acreage here. I could just pull these branches and find them growing, and then I'm recycling, I'm reusing. It gives me a little bit of pride to have something coming from our land. And these mums were just a steal. So I got this mum, the orange one, for under $5 at Walmart. I got the yellow one for $2.50 at Menards. This one I did spend a little bit more because it's this gorgeous, huge form. I think I spent $18 on that at a really nice greenhouse nearby. So all in all, you know, it was, what's the math on that? Under $30 to have the arrangement. And then I had to put in the labor and effort to design it and make it my own, which is something I enjoy doing. But I would not want to buy even more materials. You know, I was at one greenhouse, they had beautiful millet, you know, which is like a short corn-like grass plant. They wanted $15 a plant. And I thought, you know, for this arrangement, I'd need at least 2 or 3 to make it look decent. That adds up. That's just too much for me. Probably wondering, gosh, where are the pumpkins? Well, those are coming. I always want to get my floral arrangements done and then layer in the pumpkins later. Pumpkins, gourds, different sizes, different textures, and just lay them in and around the pots, and it just looks absolutely gorgeous. So I want to show you some of the other arrangements that I'm just so glad they just turned out. Sometimes when you're having that creative moment and the juices are just flowing, things just kind of happen. So with this one, I think it just turned out awesome. Another Russ mum with really nice tight round form. It's very clean and tidy looking in its design, which I think is really beautiful. Contrasted with this, it's a Chrysandra. The blooms don't look great. Yeah, they're kind of petering out here, but they have a really pretty apricot bloom on them. Let's see if I can get that in focus. Yeah, a really pretty apricot bloom. And they have a really lovely kind of gangly tall form. So I love that contrast, and I like that it's carrying through a little bit of the orange. These leaves are also getting a little bit crisp and turning color a little bit, which is really pretty. And then I threw in a small mum, really pretty pop of color. And this branch is just so cool. Check out this branch. It even has these little moss pieces that are really pretty colors. Here's another container that I created from materials I already had. So I had this gorgeous mandevilla from the summer. These things, if you've never grown them, I highly recommend. They are stunning and they just don't quit. They're workhorses. Bloom all summer. They handle heat really well. They can handle dry, drought-like conditions really well. So if you forget to water, and then they really do well into the fall. So even when it's cool temps, they are rock stars. And they have this beautiful form with these gorgeous waxy leaves. So one on this end and one on this end so that they're diagonal from each other. And then I decided to put in these really pretty smoky scarlet mums, again, diagonal from each other. On to these folks here. So another rusted mum. Had a few more branches left. I just love that as an unexpected little accent. And this black-eyed Susan vine has just been a rock star all summer. And it looks great going into the fall. It's been handling the cooler temps really well. So I'm just going to let it ride. This is one of my favorites. Right next to our patio door. So it gets lots of traffic. You see it from all the way around inside the sunroom, which is over here. And then if you're coming out from the garage door here, It's just one of these great spots to have a planter as a visual anchor. And then this is that Chrysandra I mentioned. You can see it in its full glory here. It is just stunning. These beautiful apricot blooms. Has these waxy leaves. Again, this is a trooper just like the mandevilla. It blooms all summer long. It's doing great into the fall. And I thought, why would I take these out of pots? They're orange. They're stunning. I love it. This plant has done the best of all the mesos. It's just huge. I mean, look at how luxurious and huge these vines are. More lilac branches. I think they look great. It was just on a whim. I thought, well, I'm going to pull branches from somewhere in the property. And I went over to them last night and I just shoved them in. And like I said, all I did is I just shoved them down right in the center. So right where your plants intersect in your arrangement. And it really lifts your eye up and down because you're seeing the vine as well as the branch. Well, last but certainly not least, I want to show you the Wagon. Look at this guy. Isn't that cute? You took one of those really beautiful large red mums and put that off to the side so it's an asymmetrical pattern. And then I added this rust one, kind of spilling a little bit off the edge. And then a lighter rust colored one for dimension. And my plan here is to just put little pumpkins in between in the holes. So a few here, a few there, some soil can show, that's fine. I thought about adding some height. I could put in some branches, but I do think it's cute all on its own. Well, and you'll have to pardon the bad landscaping, like this edging and stuff. We only moved in about a year ago. We've got a long way to go as far as restoration and design on this place. I can't wait to get to the landscaping, but that's a story for another day. That's going to be another set of YouTube videos for sure. This is the end of the tour. So hopefully this is giving you some inspiration of just ways you can come at it and make it your own. So happy planting.